In the early 80s, our scoutmaster was an ex-Vietnam veteran, and he had us call him Sarge. And he had the look of a guy who'd been there, done it, and really enjoyed it. And he treated us Cub Scouts like we were his platoon that he was training for a recon mission in the Delta. Now, typical of our parents, they turn us right over to this guy. And as 10-year-olds, we had a camp out in Ohio overnight in January. Well, we had an ice storm that night, so when we got up in the morning in our little pup tents, we were entombed. And because everything had ice on it and it was wet, there was no breakfast. And good old Sarge, he made us feel better about that by telling us that he didn't ever have breakfast during the 6 months he was in the POW camp at Hanoi. I spent about 10 years in the used car business as a young guy starting in my 20s. And at that point in time, I was a sponge for information and soft clay to be molded. So I fell into a lot of these rackets I came upon kind of by accident, because I didn't come up with any of this garbage. I was just kind of a cog on the wheel while I was there. So my favorite was, we weren't trying to upcharge you for aftermarket stuff. We were adding to these used cars. We had a different strategy. We were trying to upcharge you for the stuff that was already there. So the way this worked, if a car came in that had keyless entry and an alarm on it, I'm not going to tell you. But after the deal is signed, we throw the proposition at you that for $100 in cash to the salesman, we can put it on there. And then all we would do is just give you the remotes to what already existed. Well, though, if you refused, we just threw them in the trash. Yeah, I'm not sure God's going to forgive me for that one. I was late for PE one morning because I'd been goofing off in the locker room, putting my sweats on. And when I walked into the gym, the coach was talking to the already assembled class, and he didn't hear or see me come in because I walked in behind him. Now, as I get underneath the basketball hoop, I decide to be funny, and I jump up, grab the net, and start hanging on it. Well, immediately the whole class lights up because coach doesn't know what I'm doing behind him. So everybody kind of starts chuckling and laughing. So I start swinging back and forth, like a monkey, making everybody laugh. Now, unknown to me, but in full view of everybody else in the class, my buddy Joey walks in behind me. Now, he's late because he was also goofing off in the locker room. Well, I don't see him, and he walks right up behind me, sees what I'm doing, grabs my sweatpants and underwear with both hands, pulls them down, turns them inside out, and takes them to the ground. Donnie, downtown in Tampa, and he had a check he wanted to cash, so we went to the bank. And while he went inside, I waited outside, and 30 seconds later, he comes running out, full speed, headed up the street. So since I'm there with him, I got to take off running too. So now I'm running up the sidewalk, and I'm 10, 15 foot behind him. Now, he's faster than me, and so he gets out ahead pretty quick. He's beat me by 10, 15 feet, and he goes off the sidewalk, jumps a fence, through somebody's backyard, jumps another fence, and I'm right behind him the whole way, yelling, "What's going on? What's going on?" Well, of course, the cops who saw us thought I was chasing him. And, of course, I'm the one who gets caught. He gets away. So as I'm standing there in handcuffs, trying to explain to these guys that I don't know why we're running, and it's my cousin, and I don't know where he went and what he's doing, they weren't buying it. So I went straight into the police car. When I was 8, my mom decided that she was going to be den mother for our Cub Scout pack. And this was a big step for her, and, she gave it her best. There were 7 or 8 of us in our little pack, and we met each Tuesday night at 7 o'clock in my parents' living room. And my mom would plan some arts and crafts or some activity for us. And like your typical dad, mine was completely indifferent. He'd sit in the living room in his recliner with his back to us watching TV and pay no attention at all. Well, I remember one Tuesday night in particular, my mom getting pretty mad at him. And we're sitting out at the table, and she's doing her best to, do some activity with us. But the problem is all of us could look over my dad's shoulder and see the TV. Well, 10, 15 minutes into it, she jumps up, runs in the living room and says, "Change the channel. There's no way I can compete out here with the Benny Hill show." My wife and I have 4 teenagers, and I have finally figured out, after all these years, how to get their attention when we want it. When I was a kid growing up, like most Gen X people, we had one TV in the house. And if you didn't want to watch what Dad was watching, you can go outside and whine about it. They didn't even want to hear. Nowadays, I got a TV in every room of the house, including the bathrooms and the garage. And, these kids like to go off in their own worlds and do their own thing. So when Mom yells for my teenage son for dinner, and he yells back, "Gotta wait, I'm playing a game," I use the Roku and the Wi-Fi to preempt their programming. And I probably enjoy doing it a little more than what I should. So he doesn't want to come to dinner, I shut him down with Welcome to the Jungle on YouTube. Mom yells for one of my daughters that it's bedtime, and they're watching a Taylor Swift interview. November Rain from Guns N' Roses. Works great.